COVID-19 has won its Supreme Court case against the Biden administration. That's right. A virus won its case. Now, obviously, I'm being a little, hyperbolic here, but that's ultimately what happened. So despite the fact that vaccine mandates are how we've gotten through pandemics in the past, the U.S. Supreme Court has struck down Biden's vaccine and testing requirements on large companies, which, by the way, is not really a vaccine mandate, but still, they shot it down. So just to be clear on the ruling here from SCOTUS blog, the Supreme Court blocks the federal government's COVID-19 vaccine or test requirements for large workplaces. The court allows a vaccine mandate for workers at federally funded healthcare facilities to take effect nationwide. So on one hand, you have a good ruling. On the other hand, a horrible ruling. Now, let me first get to some of the reaction here from the justices that voted against this. So liberal justices Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan issued a blistering dissent saying, quote, "When we are wise, we know not to displace the judgments of experts acting within the sphere Congress marked out and under presidential control to deal with emergency conditions," they wrote. "Today, we are not wise. In the face of a still raging pandemic, this court tells the agency charged with protecting worker safety that it may not do so in all the workplaces needed. As disease and death continue to mount, this court tells the agency that it cannot respond in the most effective way possible. The rule would impact some 80 million individuals and requires employers with 100 or more employees to ensure that their employees are fully vaccinated or undergo regular testing and wear a face covering at work. There are exceptions for those with religious objections." The agency said that it had the authority to act under an emergency temporary standard meant to protect employees if they are exposed to a grave danger. How is COVID-19 not a grave danger? This clearly is, no. It's, the thing is, I have a hard time imagining that the workplaces that have implemented this are going to revert back and not do this, at the very least testing, because what you're going to end up doing, because most people are vaccinated, most people care about their health, most people don't want to get COVID-19. So if these workplaces then revert back and don't at the very least require testing and masks, you're going to scare off a lot of your employees. So even without this in place, I do think a lot of workplaces will still continue, but at the same time, there's no guarantee that they will. And this ultimately is the issue here, where you are putting workers at risk, even though it is OSHA's job to take care of workers. That is their job. You think in a pandemic is the time where they would shine the most, but they aren't even allowed to protect public health in the middle of a pandemic with just the bare minimum here. Again, this isn't a vaccine mandate. This is a vaccine or test requirement. Why can't you test people to see if they have the virus? It's ridiculous, but let me get some reactions here. So this from Leah Greenberg. "Just a reminder, the Supreme Court made everyone involved in hearing the vaccine mandate case take a PCR test in advance, guaranteeing a level of protection that is widely out of reach for nearly every worker affected by this decision." Isn't that crazy? To actually go in and be heard at this hearing, they had to get tested for COVID-19, only to then have the Supreme Court say workplaces should not require it. Completely bizarre. From Internet Hippo here saying the coronavirus crying and hugging its lawyer. That just made me laugh. Kyle Klinsky here saying OSHA issues rules that provide medical criteria which will assure insofar as practicable that no employee will suffer diminished health or life expectancy as a result of his work. The Supreme Court thinks vaccine or test during a pandemic doesn't fall under this. Yeah, clearly it does. But again, this is the issue when you have an incredibly right-wing Supreme Court. You're going to have rulings like this that make absolutely no sense, but they'll do what they want to benefit massive corporations. Next one here, Ben Shapiro. Don't worry, I got you the conservative opinion here. "I'm not going to be shy about the fact that we at Daily Wire stood up for our employees and everybody's employees. We are proud of that fact. We put time and money into challenging the vax mandate," which again is not really a mandate, "and we couldn't have done that without your help." Well, this reaction here from Sam Cedar, Quote, stood up for employees should read as defended the right of employers to force its workers back to work without even the protection of knowing that those around them tested negative for a deadly virus. Can you imagine working for Ben Shapiro or anybody with this kind of mindset? They just do not care at all. For Shapiro, it's about clicks, it's about views. There's of course a large conservative base that is anti-vaccine because they've been fed a bunch of bullshit. So he's simply feeding into that. But it's so disgusting. A ruling like this, just one of the really bare minimum steps to protecting people against a deadly virus, not allowed because apparently it restricts the employers. Of course, again, another ruling siding with employers over their actual workers.